Spence, the evil genius, from which of the laboratory with your lab secrets tip of the day. Well, we're plugging away here at our tutorial video series on how to set up your new lab secret solution site. We left off before on the permalink section, and in this video we're going to get into the miscellaneous section of the settings tab. And as usual, let me clean up a little bit here and close some of the windows, and we'll get into the details. This is going to be a little shorter tutorial because the miscellaneous settings basically, for the most part, only have to do with where the location is that you're going to allow for uploading of files. And this is something that's utilized by both your WordPress as well as your BuddyPress code, and many of the plugins use this as well. So it's important to set it correctly, but it's not that hard to do. So there's really two settings here. You've got the uploads folder location, and this is the relative URL. And you also got a full URL path to files. Now, this is important because in general, the program can be set up with the relative URL. And that way, if you ever were to use a different domain name or you moved it, it would all be relative to the rest of your file structure, as you'll see in a second. But for some of the plugins, they get a little lost because things move around. And so it's also a good idea to set the full URL path to the files. So in this case, we have a sample site that we're running here called Frieden.com. And so what we do is we take the path here, which is the default path, and we simply add the domain name in front of it. Now, when you get your lab secret solution site, we've already set this up. And typically you'll see an IP address in here, because when we give you the site, it's ready to go with 174.122 or 222. And you'll see something maybe like this. Now, all you'll need to do is go in, if we've not already set it up for you, and change it to your domain name, so Frieden.com. The relative importance of this will be known right away, because if it's not set correctly, what will happen is your images, such as the avatars and the file uploads, will just show a gray box or a question mark. So you'll know right away whether or not you've done it correctly. Next is you've got two check boxes. One is to organize your uploads into month and year based folders, and the other is to track the link's update times. Now, the first one we definitely recommend, and let me show you what happens with that. I'm going to go ahead and use our free Fire FTP client here inside of the Firefox browser to demonstrate for you. This is the contents folder inside of the Frieden site, and you can see here it's frieden.com/WP content. And this is where we have our plugins, our themes, any upgrades, as well as, most importantly, the uploads directory. If I double click on that, you'll see that there's some content in here, and I'll show you what that is. The 2010 is what we were looking at that last checkbox. You'll notice that there's individual folders that represent the months: January, February, March, April, May, June. And here in June, I've got some images that I've uploaded, and you'll notice it also has the details of the date and such. So when you go over here in this setting, what you're doing is effectively saying, whenever I upload something, please go ahead and use this method of organization. Make a folder inside of the uploads called the year, in this case 2010, and then have folders inside of there for the months, in this case 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, and then go ahead and put the files inside of the appropriate folders. The reason that might be nice is that in the future, after you've been doing this for a couple months or a year, if you have something you need to go back and find, you don't have to do it by random stream of consciousness. You can first of all just select by the time frame, such as the year or the month, and you'll be much closer to the goal of finding the file or the image that you want. And beyond that, it's nice because, in my opinion, it's nice for keeping organization rather than having one gigantic bucket into which you pour all of the images. We found that it's much easier to have a nice folder directory structure. And lastly, track links, update times. This is a little bit irrelevant in my opinion, and I'd say that you want to leave it off. But you'll notice here we're tracking the date. If you're really uploading a lot of images and it's critical to know what time of the day they were uploaded, you would just simply be adding another column here that would give you information about the time of the day as well as the date that it was uploaded. I think personally it's not worth the extra storage space in the table of the database, but your mileage may vary. And that's the end of this tutorial for the miscellaneous settings in your lab secret solution.